Hello everyone, my name is Malika and I'm a former certified MAC artist and professional makeup artist based in Mississippi. And today we're going to be talking about my top 10 personal ways you can become a MAC makeup artist. So if you guys want to know, which you probably do because you're here, then stay tuned. Alright, so before we jump into my top 10 ways on how you can become a MAC artist, I first want to ask you, why do you want to become a MAC artist? Because that was my top question in my interview. So if you haven't already asked yourself that question, make sure you write it down and jot some answers down with it and have it ready for your interview. So with that being said, I'll tell you why I decided to want to become a MAC makeup artist. Alright, so during cosmetology school, during the part where we went over makeup, I was really enthused by it and excited about it. I wanted to learn everything I could about makeup, skincare, color correcting, eyeshadow, blending, foundation, anything relating to makeup. Like, I was more into makeup than I was even hair. I have my cosmetology license, but as you can tell, I'm a professional makeup artist. So with that being said, when I was done with cosmetology school, when I got my license, I applied for MAC Cosmetics. I was so into makeup that I wanted to just grow more, and I thought that MAC would be a great start for me, which it was. It was an awesome start for me as far as growing myself as an artist and being able to apply makeup on other people. So that's why I wanted to become a MAC makeup artist. Alright, so let's just jump into my top 10 ways on how you could become a MAC artist as well, because that is why we're here. Alright, so let's go. Alright, so number 1, research. Research the brand before you go into the counter or the store and do your interview, because you want to know a little bit of history about the brand, because mind you, that'll probably be one of your questions during the interview. Like, when was MAC founded? Or who founded MAC? Or what does MAC represent? Or what does MAC stand for? So if you know all of those questions, or at least some of them, and you answer them correctly in an interview, it'll blow the socks off the MAC manager. Trust me. If you know the history. Alright, so number 2, knowledge about the product. So that goes hand in hand with knowledge about MAC's history as well, because if you don't know about the product, then during the practical interview you won't know how to use them on your practical model. So knowing about the product will help you a lot again during the interview, because you will go through a practical interview where you'll have to do makeup on a model, maybe a day and night look or a look from a face chart. So if you know at least what foundations they carry, what skincare they carry, what moisturizers they carry, that would be awesome, because that is the basis of the look, and that is what you really need to know about your model when you go to start her makeup. So that would be great, so that you won't have to scramble around the counter trying to find products or figure out what works best for your model. You'll already know before you start. So knowledge about the product is very, very important. Number 3, experience. So when I went to apply for MAC Cosmetics, I did have a little bit of experience doing makeup on clients and makeup in cosmetology school. So if you do have a little experience, that would be great. If you don't, that's okay. But it would be great if you could practice on a friend or your sister or just anybody. Doesn't matter. People want their makeup done, so just grab anybody. Girl, do you want your makeup done? Or you? I need somebody to do their makeup because I need to practice. So yeah, if you have a little experience doing makeup, that would be great, as well as experience in retail, because that's another side of MAC that you need to have as well. Knowing how to sell a product, knowing how to relate it back to the client, knowing how to talk to the client when selling the product is great as well. Number 4, build a resume and maybe even a portfolio. Now, my counter didn't require us to have a portfolio, but I did have pictures of clients that I did work on, as well as clients from cosmetology school. So if you have a portfolio, that would be cool, and a great built up resume with experience in retail as well as experience doing makeup on others. Number 5, my favorite one, dress the part. As you can tell, you probably clicked on this video because of my attire and how I look. I look like a MAC makeup artist right now. So if you go into the counter dressed the part, you already look like you have the job, which is great, because that's what they want to see. They want to see you in the position already coming into the store. So Dress the part when you go in for an interview or when you go in to speak with a manager. Always dress the part. Anytime I went to the counter to speak with a manager, I was dressed in black and my makeup was done. I was one of those people that was like, girl, I'm already hired, so just go ahead and put me in the system and let me work today, okay? Number 6. Inquire about a freelance position. Now, I say this because when I got hired at MAC Cosmetics, I started out as a freelance makeup artist, which means I was on call whenever there were hours available, because freelance artists don't have a set schedule, and most of the time you're gonna start out as a freelance makeup artist unless the counter has a permanent position open and it's open and nobody at the counter needs it, or no one else in the area needs that position. So that's what I did when I first went into the counter. I inquired about a freelance position because majority of the time, if you haven't had any experience at a MAC counter already, you're gonna start out as a freelance artist. Now, when it comes to freelance artists, you have the flexibility of turning down hours and accepting hours. When you get a permanent position at the MAC counter, you cannot, you cannot, don't even think about it, you cannot call out ever. It is looked down upon. So if you like your schedule and your flexibility of coming in and out the counter when you get ready, or working this day or working that day, or being off on Saturdays or working on Saturdays, then starting out as a freelance artist will be great for you. That way you can get some experience with working for MAC as well as build up to becoming a permanent artist. Alright, so before I go into number 7, my experience with becoming a artist, I did start out as a freelance artist because, again, that was the only thing that was open and available. They didn't have any permanent positions to fill, so I started out as a MAC freelance artist. And I was able to work when I wanted to and not work when I wanted to. And at that time, I was still finishing up cosmetology school, so it worked in my favor. That way, if I couldn't work on Saturday or I couldn't work on Tuesday because of school, they were okay with it, and I wasn't permanent and I didn't have to commit to a set schedule. So keep that in mind. Freelance is a little bit more flexible than a permanent position. They both are great. One just is more flexible than the other. And then with freelance artists, you do not get gratis and you do not get 60% off the products. But again, you get that flexibility as well as experience with working with the counter. Number 7, call back, check on the status of your resume whenever you get the chance. Now, don't bug them like I did. I bugged the heck out of my counter. When I tell you I called every single day, like they knew I was calling before they even picked up the phone. So yeah, I called every single day. You don't have to do that, but if you do want to, it won't hurt. I applied for MAC and I didn't get hired until maybe 7 months after applying, and I called back all of those 7 months, and I went into the counter all of those 7 months. So yeah, always call back, stay consistent, make sure they remember you, so that way they know you're serious about a job. All right, and number 8, be prepared to sit down for an interview and do a practical interview as well. As I mentioned before, you are going to do a practical interview, which means you're going to be doing makeup on a model of your choice. And if it's a group interview like mine was, they might even switch the models around. So when you go in for that practical interview, which is a little bit more intense than the sit down talk through interview with the manager, you want to make sure when you start your makeover, you ask the client questions about their skin, questions about what look they want, because more than likely the manager will give your model a scenario of what they want done to themselves, and you will have to get your client to reciprocate that back to you of what they want. So make sure during the practical interview you ask your client every single question. I always started out the question with, so what brings you into MAC today? What can I help you with? And then in turn, they tell me what they want help with and what they're looking for. And from that initial question, it opens the door to ask more questions about what look they're going for today, what skin type do they have, what foundation do they prefer, a dewy look or a matte look, and so forth and so on. So make sure you ask the client questions before you just hop straight into doing their makeup. And then another thing during the practical interview that my manager liked that I did was that while doing the makeover, I told the client what I was doing as I was doing it, and I also described to the client how I was using the product on her face and how I was using it with the brush and what the brush does as I do the makeup. So that was one of the #1 things that my manager liked about what I did during the practical interview. All those things are important when it comes to the client so that they can go back home and do the same thing that you did. And number 9, answer all of your interview questions when you sit down and talk to the manager with confidence. Again, that goes back to knowing your research about the brand, knowing product knowledge, and knowing why you want to become a MAC artist. And when asking those questions, you always want to do it with confidence and like you already have the position and that you're just talking to your manager about just MAC in general. And number 10, my last tip of the day is just to enjoy the process and have fun where you're doing it, and remember why you even want to become a MAC artist. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this top 10 way to get a job at MAC Cosmetics. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.